Yeah, I'm a author, a columnist, a novelist, a journalist, and latterly someone who lectures on the subject of what I call Zenism, which is a form of philosophy which is a blending of Zen, Taoism, Buddhism and Hinduism.
Well, how would you define Daoism, Tim? It's a kind of idler's religion, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't specifically know a huge amount about Taoism, but from what you say, as you suggest, it believes in taking the path of least resistance. Taoism believes that water is the strongest thing because you can't break it. It just goes round things, it goes under things, but although it appears to be weak, it's very strong. And the whole idea that we live with today, the whole cliche, if you like, or motto of the age of going with the flow, comes from Taoism, and that was introduced to the West by Alan Watts, who I'll be talking about at this festival.
And if you can you define the basic principle behind Zen, or what you call Zenism?
Well, that's a very big question, but I mean, all I would say is that normal understandings of Eastern religion are, to me, very misguided. They're hugely about effort and trying and going on 3-week retreats where you don't speak to anybody or getting a very bad back from sitting down and meditating too much. Zenism is more a philosophy of life, which is far too complex to go into here, but the Taoistic part of it is emphasized in that the whole idea of sitting around on your arse for hours on end, that's some route to mental liberation, is thoroughly rejected. The idea is certainly true that you should live in the moment as much as you possibly can, without forgetting the past, without forgetting the future, but not being dominated by regrets of the past or anxieties about the future, and really expanding the present moment so that you live there rather than it being a tiny little dot in between a huge past and an infinite future.
So you're saying that you think most people have got the wrong idea about Eastern religion, they put too much work into it?
Absolutely. I think nearly everyone has got the wrong idea about, well, perhaps not about Eastern religion. I'm talking about Eastern philosophy. And that is very different from Eastern religion. I mean, if you go and look up Taoism or Buddhism on the internet, you'll get a huge list of these religious creeds, and there are thousands of them. But underlying all these different creeds is a really interesting philosophy, which is very different from Western philosophy. And it's quite hard for us to get our heads round because it's like the world turned upside down. Everything we're taught about will and effort and trying is the opposite. You know, you just don't try. you let things happen. It's called Zhujian, which means of itself so. The grass grows of itself so, and it's the idea that you follow the path of least resistance.
Are you going to be teaching these ideas at the Idler Academy?
I'm going to try and teach them. I don't think they're actually that complicated, but what they are is counterintuitive. So you have to come with an open mind in order for you to grasp them, because they're very, very different, particularly on terms of things like morality, because Taoism, for instance, is a philosophy that doesn't really have a morality, which makes it incredibly different from something like Christianity or Islam, which emphasize the moral aspect of life very strongly, whereas something like Taoism, and for that matter Zen, does not.
And can you recommend a couple of books?
Well, I would certainly recommend the book by Alan Watts, otherwise known as the book on the taboo against knowing who you are, and also the Wisdom of Insecurity by Alan Watts. A very short book, only 120 pages, but an absolute masterpiece, I think, and tells you practically everything you need to know, not only about Alan Watts, but just about living and how to live in general.
Tim Lott, thank you very much.
Thank you.